In 1934, the prestigious science magazine National Geographic published a lengthy article under the title A Forgotten Valley in Peru, written by Robert Shippey with photographs by George Johnson. 4 years before, these two aviators from the United States had flown over the Andawa Valley, where they were awed by the geographical wonders found in the unexplored heights of the Arequipa region. Travelers today are sure to be just as delighted as those two explorers of yesteryear by the combination of nature, history, and living culture found in the Valley of the Volcanoes. When coming from Arequipa, we recommend entering the valley through the Colca Canyon and exiting near the Coropuna volcano, which will take us to Majes, and from there back to Arequipa. Along the way, we will travel through the Salinas and Aguada Blanca National Reserve, home to vicuñas, yareta plants, quenua trees, lakes, and high-altitude birds. We will pass through the Colca Canyon with its rural towns and lovely churches, as well as rock art and communities of shepherds and farmers. The Valleys of the Volcanoes is a gigantic geological fault situated at the foot of Coropuna, the highest volcano in Peru and one of the 12 highest in the world. This valley sits between the Colca and Cotahuasi canyons, both of which are twice as deep as the Grand Canyon. In the town of Chilcaymarca, we find the cozy Hotel de Turistas. This town is also known for the festival of San Santiago, the local patron saint, featuring ritual dances and traditional bullfights. We begin our trip in the upper part of the valley. The towns in this valley all belong to a destination management organization which brings together all of the parties involved in tourism here. The Buenaventura Mining Company is one such party and one of the main allies and supporters of this initiative, which forms part of its shared social responsibility policy. Along the way to Panagua, we find a corral of llamas. Livestock breeding is a main activity of high-altitude shepherds who raise llamas, alpacas, and sheep. This area is home to traveling potters whose ancestors formed part of a bartering chain that brought products from the coast. In Panagua, the community has created a splendid park with frozen waterfalls. These waterfalls face south, positioning them in the shade at all times. During the coldest months of the year, the low temperatures cause the water to freeze. We continue on our way, passing the shrine of the Achachi, an ancient skull that can always be found, decorated with votive candles and flowers. Between Hanansaya and Urinsaya stands a colonial church dedicated to the Santísima Cruz, or Holy Cross. During the dry season, the large chapel hall hosts a festival featuring the dance known as Los Llameritos de Panagua, which has been named Cultural Heritage of the Nation. In Sarpane, we find a forest of quenua trees. This all-important tree, able to survive at over 5,000 meters above sea level, helps conserve water and regulate the climate. Upon returning to our base, we make a stop at the Huancarama Hot Springs for a relaxing dip. Just below these baths, travelers can make themselves at home in the cozy little bungalows. Inside the small chapel of Ocopata, which remains in exemplary shape, we find an image of the Virgen Candelaria joined to a stone. For as long as anyone can remember, this icon has been a huaca, or object of worship. Other reminders of the Spaniards' presence here include the bridge and the stone Quimbalete mills, which once served to process ore by hand using river water. As we can see, this area has a long mining tradition. We pass through Orcopampa, the area's most important commercial and mining hub. The town has a fully equipped medical center and hospital. The next morning, we catch our first glimpse of the twin volcanoes of Guanacaure. We are now in Andawa, a town that greets us with its neatly pruned cypress trees offering a fine example of the topiary arts. The river that runs through the valley changes names as it flows along from Huancarama to Orcopampa and Andawa, becoming the Mamacocha Lagoon before finally emptying into the River Colca. From its highest peaks to its greatest depths, the Pacareta Canyon is striking for just how deep and narrow it is. The valley's volcanoes were formed by a series of tectonic events over the course of millions of years. We walk from Andawa to the volcano Cayana Mauras. For many years there was a bull ring at the base of the crater where this long-running tradition was practiced. The Ucuya Scenic Lookout was built by the community to provide a panoramic view of a number of mini volcanoes. Notable among the flora here are the cacti, with 16 species found in a wide range of shapes and sizes. We can see Lake Chachas with the Cordillera of Chila in the background. The community is also responsible for building the Jojoloche Lookout, which gives us more views of the volcanoes, along with the town of Chachas, the lake that shares its name, and the nearby farming terraces.
At the Jojoloche Lookout, we had the chance to take in an incredible combination of nature which sits all around us, the living culture of the town of Chachas and archaeological remains of Antaymarca. We also have a clear view of 10 of the 36 mini volcanoes situated along the corridor between Orcopampa and Ayo.
Today, we arrive in Ayo, noticeably descending in altitude to a small valley filled with fruit trees growing in a warm climate. From here, we will walk to the Mamacocha Lagoon, or the Mother Lake, a true oasis. In this body of water, the Andawa River finally comes to the surface after running beneath a lava field for 17 kilometers. With a little luck and patience, we will catch a glimpse of otters, or guayaques as they are known here, swimming in Mamacocha against a magical backdrop of fig trees and bamboo plants. While we have talked about hotels and bungalows, we should also note that there are families in each town who offer homestays, kindly sharing their houses with travelers. The food in the valley is not to be missed. Andawa is known for its delicious alpaca and trout, while Chachas is famous for guinea pig, corn, and quinoa. Ayo, meanwhile, is celebrated for its shrimp. Everything here is healthy and chemical-free. Whenever we feel overwhelmed by the city and its noise, its dirty air, numbing routine, and stress, we know the time has come to visit the Valley of the Volcanoes. Lucerito tells us how she feels when travelers come to visit the place she calls home.
Siento alegría.
It gives me a lot of joy.
Siento felicidad.
It makes me happy. Positive. For travelers looking to stay a few days more, there are endless experiences to be had. Horse rides are always an option. Community members offer their own horses, and there are also Peruvian paso horses. The cave of Alhuire is a great destination for absolutely physically fit travelers. Inside, we find rock paintings dating back approximately 8,000 years. The return trip to Majes via Andawa is striking thanks to the view of the volcano Coropuna. Ice, way-white shrines, a landscape in which all sense of proportion is lost, dominated by the Apu, the holy mountain that acts as both protector and challenger. The Valley of the Volcanoes is a gateway for travelers who are able to appreciate the efforts of the community members here, who seek to get ahead through friendly tourism. For visitors who know how to protect, preserve, and care for nature and local culture, this is a perfect destination. Indeed, this rugged paradise seems custom designed for just such a traveler.